Hey everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog, and welcome to another TV episode review series. Today's TV episode review is going to be on the second episode, the season 4 season of Once Upon a Time Whiteout. And in this episode, it turns out that Elsa finds this pendant that was left behind by Anna. And when she finds this pendant, she ends up putting up this frozen wall of ice around Storybrooke. And it turns out that Emma, Hook, and her daddy, Prince Charming, come by and try to break down the walls, but then Elsa accidentally ends up taking in like she ends up taking in Emma, and then she ends up closing the wall between them, um preventing Hook and Prince Charming from rescuing Emma. And meanwhile, we get a backstory about how Prince Charming meets up with Anna in the past, and how Anna taught him to fight against Little Bo Peep, who's actually a villain in this episode. And that's pretty much what happens in this episode. Like basically, Elsa puts up a wall of frozen ice, and she accidentally gets Emma trapped inside the ice wall. And Prince Charming and Hook are trying to get Emma out of that ice wall. And then we learn about the backstory about Prince Charming meeting with Anna in the past. So my thoughts on this episode. So let's talk about the positives about this episode. Um, what I did like about this episode is that this is a more Frozen center episode. So this is more focused on Elsa's character than it would be on the characters of Storybook. And I like the fact that we are finally getting more character development with Elsa. And I like seeing the interactions she has with Emma and the rest of Storybook. So that was really interesting, because when I was watching how the Frozen characters came into the Once Upon a Time universe, I was wondering how would the Frozen characters interact with the Once Upon a Time characters. And I think they did this pretty well. Like, I really like the relationship established between Elsa and Emma. I like how friendly they are, but it was also interesting seeing how Emma's trying to help Elsa conquer fear of her powers. And you can still see in this episode that Elsa still is having trouble controlling her powers. Hence why she put up the ice wall, and why she accidentally got Emma trapped in the ice wall. So I really enjoy seeing the relationship that Elsa develops with Emma throughout this episode. And I also like the backstory about how Anna meets up with Prince Charming, and how she taught him to fight against Little Bo Peep. That was another interesting development for this episode, is seeing even Anna like really interact with the characters of the Once Upon a Time universe. So that was something I really enjoyed in this episode, like how the Frozen characters were able to interact with the Once Upon a Time characters. And I thought the acting was pretty good in this episode. I thought the person who played Elsa was pretty good. She really conveyed her inner turmoil of her powers, and how she got scared when she accidentally locked Emma inside of the walls. So I really like that the how the actress was able to portray Elsa's fear of her powers, and how she got scared when she accidentally trapped Emma within the icy walls. So here are some things I didn't like about this episode. I didn't like how the episode ended. I'm not gonna tell you how the episode ended, because that would be spoiling things. But with how it ended, it was like, well, wouldn't that kind of take away from the presence that the Frozen cast has on there? And yeah, I'm wondering who's this new character coming in, and what are they gonna do with the rest of the Frozen cast, or what are they gonna do with Storybook in general? But yeah, I felt like the ending was kind of like, we already have the Frozen cast. Why add another new character that we don't know about? So that's as far as I can go without spoiling too much. But maybe this might turn out to be a good thing in the end. Maybe they might develop more with this character, and we'll see how this is going to all tie into the future episodes of Once Upon a Time. And another bad thing I didn't like about this episode was that Regina wasn't in this episode that much. She didn't like show up too much in this episode, so I was kind of upset that we didn't see a lot of Regina in this episode. I would have liked to see what her plans were. Like in the last episode, she was planning on erasing history, or not erasing history, but more like rewriting history where the bad guys actually win. And I was wondering how come we didn't explore that storyline this episode. But yeah, those are some negative things about this episode, was the ending, and the fact that there wasn't a lot of Regina in this episode. I would have liked to see more character development being done with Regina. So all in all, I give this episode a thumbs up. And even though I had problems with the ending and the fact that Regina didn't really show up a lot in this episode. I like how they're starting to establish the Frozen universe to the Once Upon a Time universe. I think they're doing a good job with developing the character interactions. I like how Elsa's interacting with Emma, and I like to see more Elsa interact more with the rest of the Storybrooke. So that would be really interesting. I like to see how Elsa's gonna do with the rest of Storybrooke. And I see she hasn't done that much damage in the town yet, so I don't think she would be much of a big threat, but we'll see. This show is like one of those shows that throw you a lot of surprises when you least expected it. But overall, I did enjoy this episode. Well, that's my episode review on the Once Upon a Time episode Whiteout. And be sure to follow me on Twitter so I can keep you updated any new videos I post up. And also tune in every Thursday for new TV episode reviews, even though probably when Constantine premieres, I'm going to start reviewing TV episode reviews every Fridays when that happens. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you later.